How do you keep your cool when you're up 1,000, give it all back, and then find yourself all in for $3,000? Let's find out. Today's stream is going to be different than the previous ones because finally we have the knit game going on. If you don't know what that is, basically everyone starts with a knit button that you see. It's a golden chip in front of us. When you win a pot, you get rid of it. If you're the last person who hasn't won a hand, you're going to have to pay everybody $20. That is 8 players, so usually it's going to be $120. That definitely gets the action going. So let's get right into it. First hand that I play, straddle is going on, so it's 2, 5, 10. I'm going to big one with queen 9 off. Folds to me and good enough. In the big blind, I raise it up and under the gun straddler calls. Flop is pretty good. 5, 3, 9, top pair, queen kicker. In a moment, I decide to check and he bets $55, so pretty big. And I call. Turn is a 7. I check and he keeps it going. $75 this time. And now mostly just going to be calling him down. Hopefully our top pair is good by the river. I call. River is pretty great. It's a deuce, so most draws miss. And I think I'm good here most of the time, so definitely going to call. But when I check, he checks back. I show I'm good against King Jack. So right away, we lose our nip button, not having to worry about losing this time. Next hand, some time goes by. Low Jack. Patrick makes it $50. I'm going to cut off with 7-6 suited. Pretty massive size, so I get this free folding. I've been trying to work on having more flats in position in the button cut off. So this seemed good enough. It was a massive size though, so maybe I should still fold. Or if I do play 3-bet, but in a moment, yep, I do call. Flop king, king, queen. He checks and nothing going on. Definitely a way better board for him. And I do think he's checking a lot, maybe even range. So we could have plenty of kings or traps. I check back, turn is a 9. He grabs a bunch of chips and yeah, I just let it go. And he did have a king. On to the next. Button makes it $40. Straddle is going on. That's where the big. I'm in a small blind. Ace 5 suited. And yeah, with the Nick game going on, I think people will be pretty wise, especially in the button. I wouldn't be surprised if people are going to be raising range in the button just to try to get rid of their chip because that is the best spot. They're most likely going to win. And with Ace 5 suited, it's the classic 3-bet GTO hand. Let's do it. I'm going to get $120. Actually, it was a mistake. Out of position, I usually make it 4x. I'm human. Once in a while, I fuck up the sizes, but no worries since he just lets it go. And indeed, he had 7-6 off. Next hand, under than 1 makes it $30. I'm in a cutoff, 7-8 suited. That's flat. I call, small blind calls, under the gun straddler calls. Flop is king 6-5, so pretty good. Got an open-ended straight draw and a backdoor flush draw. So no checks to me. Let's bet. I'm gonna get $50 and everybody falls, so I'll definitely take that. Our image isn't looking good because we are down in the nit box. God damn. I mean, honestly, I think I was just pretty carded to get going. Let's try to play more hands and get out of there. Time for a bomb pot that I'm going to get involved. First board, Jack 10-10. Second board, King 6 deuce. And I look down at Ace, Jack 9. So I think that I'm going to be defending against a bet. Maybe if it's tiny, but that does not happen since it checks around. Turn is a 10, so definitely our pocket aces got upgraded since now only a 10 or pocket jacks are beating us with our full house. Pretty good. And the other board is a deuce that, pay 2 pair with the aces. I check since I think it's still a little too thin. Maybe for sure checks around, I'll be betting the river. So I do check and cutoff bets $120, folds to me. And I'm not going anywhere with my pocket aces. I call. There is a 3 and a queen. I check, he bets $300. And yeah, I think I'm just happy calling here. I flick it in. And we chop it up since he had a full house on the other board with 6 deuce. Back to 2 cards. I'm in under than 1 with king 10 suited. Straddle is going on, so I get $30. I get under than 2. Hijack the call. Flop 6-6-9. So pretty much nothing going on for me. Out of position. I just check. That is what I do. Hijack bets $30. And yep, we all just fold and he had pocket eights. Nick game is back on, so let's try to win a pot so we don't have to pay everyone $20. Next hand, low jack makes it $50. And this is when the Nick game has effect because it's a pretty good spot. The low jack, he's been pretty aggressive and wide. I'm in a button in position with 2 broadways. Usually I just be folding. But the thing about the Nick game, sometimes it's out of your control, the hands you get. So if you just run card there for a little while, you're just going to lose and have to pay people a bunch of money. So sometimes just not knowing if you can have another chance to win a pot, you got to take some spots that usually you wouldn't. And this seemed like one of those. So let's do it. I make it $150. Falls back to him and he calls. Flop is decent. Ace, 4, 4. So 2 pair, 10 kicker. Now he leads for $100. Definitely a good chunk of hands we're losing against. His aces with better kickers and any 4s. So raising seems too thin. Of course, not folding. I flick in a call. Turn is a king. That's a pretty good card since now we're chopping against ace queen and ace jack. And now he checks. And I wasn't sure about this spot, honestly. I think probably just betting here is the best because probably if he has a 4, he'd be keep on betting. I thought maybe he could be trapping himself, so I could check here and bet the river. That is what I do. But the river comes a queen. That seemed like one of the worst ones because, yeah, now we're losing against ace queen again. So when he checks, I wasn't sure what I was getting value from because all the aces I'm chopping against. So what am I going to get to call here? A king, a queen? So in a spot that I just didn't know if I was going to get value from worse, and maybe there's a little chance he's super slow playing. I didn't think so, but just seemed I wasn't sure if I was going to get value from worse, and maybe if he was bluffing, and I bet he just rip it, and I'm in a really shitty spot. So, yep, I do check it back, and we are good since he had queen jack off. He led the flop with pretty much absolutely nothing. Turn a gut shot, river to pair, and our ace is good. So we get rid of our chip. That was the goal. Let's go. So we could relax again. Moving on to the next hand, low jack limps. I'm about to do queen 5 suited. It's suited. Let's do it. I'm gonna get $20. Get a small blind, big blind, low jack to call. Up is 6, deuce, 5. Checks to me and such a low board, multi-way, middle pair, I check back. Turn is beautiful though, it's a 5. Now the small blind bet's $55, folds to me. I was between raising or just calling. Raising just seemed like it'd be so strong looking. If he has bluffs, I want to keep those in. And there is still hands we're losing against because there's straights, there's better trips, there's boats. So not wanting to get worse to fold than bluffs to fold. I do flick into call. River is a 4. So any 3 is a straight. But now when he checks, I think my trip is almost always good here. I don't think he's ever checking a 3 a straight here because so often it's going to get checked back. So I think most of the time he just has showdown value. And let's try to bet here. Maybe just doesn't believe we'd have a straight here. So let's go for it. I'm going to get $125. And he does call. I show my hand and he shows a 6 and mucks. So let's go. Definitely a pretty nice start of the session. Let's try to keep it going. Underdone 1 limps. I'm low jack with king jack off. I make it $50. Hijack calls and now the limper does that dreaded action. We got them in the stream as well. He limp rips it $580. So whatever, just let it go. And indeed, he had pocket queens. On to the next, where I'm going to defend my straddle. Hijack Evan makes it $30, and I'm in undergun straddle with 6 deuce suited. And beauty of playing time rate game, there's no drop, so you could be wider because the house doesn't take any money, so that means you could play more hands. And 6 deuce, it's suited. Let's do it. I flick in the call. Flop, absolutely nothing. No. Queen, 10, 9. But when I check, he bets $5. That's less than 10%. I thought maybe should just be folding anyways, but fuck it. $5 looks like a check. I got a backdoor flush draw, you know, so I flick it a call. Turn is a queen of spades. So I have my flush draw, pairs the board though. When I check, he checks back and we don't hit. Our flush drawer is a 4 of diamonds. So we have one of the worst possible hands in this spot. And after he just bets 5 on the flop and checks the turn, doesn't really seem like he has much. And hey, if I could get jack high, king high to fold here, that's a big win. So let's bet a size. That seems like I'm just going for value with any pair. If I had a 9, a 10, let's go for a size. I'd be betting with those. So I make it $20. And he does lets it go. So hey, a little bluff gets through. Very next hand, under the gun, makes it $40. Cut off calls. I'm going to big him with a beautiful ace king off. I make it $230, and they all just fold. Both of them had queen jack off. Time for another bomb pot. First board, 3, 6, 9. Second board, 3, 8, 5. And I'm in the button with 10, 9, 8, 6. So top 2 on one board, top pair and a gut shot on the other board. So pretty good. So the small bet bet's $50. Big blind calls, hijack calls. Maybe there's merit in raising here, honestly, with top 2 and top pair plus gut shot. I could see that in a moment. I do just call. Turn is a 4. That's nothing. Other board is a jack of spades. So I got a flush draw plus more straight draw. So pretty good. So now in a small limit, it's $300. Big blind calls, hijack folds with so many outs and top 2 not going anywhere. I call. River is a deuce, so nothing. And other board is a deuce, a spade. So I got a shitty flush. So, not loving it, but when a small blind pots it for $1,220, folds to me, and I was really not loving the spot, but it's just hard to get scooped here. Shitty thing is that there's a straight with the ace, so he could have the nut flush draw and a straight on the board to have two pair with the ace. So there is that chance that he could be scooping or, just have other straights with a flush. But the more I thought about it, people get pretty crazy in bomb pots. If you watch the streams, I made a correct fold before just because people go out of their mind. So in a spot that it's really hard to get scooped, a two pair and a flush, and it's a backdoor flush too. If it was a front door, I'd be a little more worried, but with a backdoor flush, even though it's shitty, and two pair, it's pretty hard to get scooped. So $1,200. I flick in the call, and I'm really not happy when I hear him say that he probably has it since he has a straight and a flush. But when he flips over his cards, he has a worse flush. Thank God. Okay, we are good. We will chop it up. He had a straight and a flush, but our flush was actually better. Nice. Okay. I thought we were going to be in a hole a big amount when he said he thought he was scooping, but we're good. Session's still going strong. Let's move on to the next hand. Under the gun makes it $20. Nick game is back on. So now I'm going to do Queen Jack off. I know I should be folding, but two broadways. You never know if I go card dead later. And under the gun, Patrick, he could be pretty wide, I think. Again, under the gun probably should be folding, but in the moment, I get aggressive. I make it $60, folds in. He four bets pretty big, so I just let it go. And pretty bad timing since he had pocket aces. Let's try that again. Hijack Patrick again makes it $15. I'm going to button with a better one, ace 10 off. I need to get rid of my nip button, and this spot is definitely a lot closer. I make it $50, and this time, thankfully, he does fold. He just had ace 6 off. I'm going to get rid of the nip button. Next hand, hijack limps, cut off. Makes it $35. I'm in a small blind pocket fives. I call, hijack calls, flop ace, queen 3. Yep, we just missed. Cut off bets. I fold. Let's try set mine in again. Under the gun, Evan makes it $20. I'm going to cut off with pocket sevens. I call, button calls, small blind calls, big blind calls. Flop is queen, deuce 5. Yeah, that's what I needed the previous time. Anyways, under the gun bets $5. This dude and his tiny ass bets. I mean, I'm getting a price to hit a set on a turn, right? I think. So I call, but the button makes it $55. Folds under the gun, he makes it $200. So I guess sometimes this $5 bet can be strong. I fold, so does the button. And once again, I'm just getting involved in almost all of them. Time for another bomb pot. Hopefully you enjoy them. First board, 4-8-8. Second board, Jack 8 Queen. Under the gun 2 makes it $75, and I'm in the hijack with 8-4 deuce deuce. So I got the absolute nuts on the bottom pair. Now if the nuts can be shared, because there's an 8 on the other board, so there's no more 8-4s. Nobody can beat me right now. So this is a spot that if I call here, I could just be in such a shitty spot on the turns, because for $75, maybe aces, kings, tens, sometimes just people will float. And if any overcard comes to the eights, now I don't know where I'm at. But if I repot it here, all the aces, all the kings, all the tens are going to fold. Of course, queens and jacks aren't, and they'll call. But if that comes on a turn on my board, I'm going to calm down. So that seemed like the best strategy, just pumping it up right now. And if everybody folds, it's a massive win because I have nothing on the other board, just a pair of eights. So that's what I do. I make it $300. Small blind calls. And under than 2 does fold. Turn is a 5. That's amazing. I still have the nuts. Other board is a 7. So let's keep the pressure going. I think most likely what the other player has is a straight on the other board. So hopefully some scare cards come out. It pairs the board, or the flush comes in, and we get him to fold by the river. So I potted $735. And once again, he calls. River's beautiful. It's a deuce. We still have the nuts. Other one is a 5, though. Yeah, so no scare cards there, so I doubt he's folding it straight, but we got to try. I rip it all in for $1,038, and he does flick into call. So bomb pots are getting pretty huge, but sadly we do. Of course, we have nothing really on the other board. We chop it up against the straight, so could have been a good one if any scare cards, since if it pairs the board, Maybe he folds. I definitely think he very likely folded. A flush comes in, but he did not give up with his straight, and he will get half of the pot back to 2 cards. So what's on the screen pre-flop in this one is incorrect. It says the low jack raises, but that's not true. He folds. The hijack is the one that makes it $20. Button calls. I'm the small blind again with a pocket pair, pocket sixes, so I flick in the call. But step money not working out, since the flop comes 10-7 queen, so the button bets $55, I fold. Very next hand, under the gun limps, low jack limps, cut off limps. I'm in the button with a beautiful pocket jack, so let's raise it up. I make it $35. You get a big line, under the gun, low jack, cut off to call. Flop, pretty good, 9-9-7, so no overcard to our pocket pairs. That's always great. Super multi-way though, we gotta watch out. There's plenty of nines that could be out there. The low jack bet $5. What's up with these $5 bets? Cut off calls. And this, I think, is a massive mistake. I just got to be raising here. $5 is straight up like a check. And this player is the one that donked previously in a 3-bet pot with queen jack off on ace-side board with absolutely nothing. So definitely, I think I should always be raising here. But in the moment, I just call. Big blind calls, under there calls. I know. I don't like it either. Turn is a queen, and that's why I don't like it, because yeah, now I don't know. Any overcards are calling that $5. So anybody could have a queen, but now it checks to me. And in my mind, I'm just like, why the hell didn't I raise a flop? If I would have raised a flop, I would be pretty comfortable that no one has a queen, because I don't think too many should be floating here. But now anybody could have it. But in a moment, I thought, sure, they could have a queen, but there's plenty of time that they miss that. They could have pocket pairs, they could have straight draws. And yep, after just calling the flop, I didn't want to check the turn. I make it $60 and only under the gun calls. There is a 4. Now when he checks on the queen high turn, I check back, and thankfully we are good against pocket 8. So let's just forget about that hand, because not a fan at all of how I played it. That just happens sometimes. Let's just try our best to not play passive like that in the next ones. Moving on, straddle is going on as it's been happening most of the time. Under the gun, 2 limps, cut off limps, small blind calls. I'm the big blind, king, queen suited. Let's pump it up. I make it $80. And this get under the gun to call. Everyone else folds. Flop is pretty good. 5-6 queen, so top pair, king kicker. Let's bet. I make it $70 and he calls. Turn is a jack. Not the best card, because we're losing against ace queen, now losing against queen jack as well. So I decided to pocket him a little bit and check, and he does not. He bets $100. And of course, not folding. After checking, I call. River is a 9. Not the best run out ever. That does bring in one of the main straight draws. That was 7-8, backdoor flush draw, and another queen that we're losing against if he was been to turn with queen 9. So not too much value that we're beating, but when I check it, it's $200. Really not happy with it, but I wasn't sure how thin he was going for value when the backdoor flush comes in and the straight comes in, and just pretty small size. After checking, we're on stream, Nick game's going on. I flick in a call, and we were behind the whole way since he had ace queen off. So we got a decent hit to our stack, but let's just focus and move on. Very next hand, under the 1 limps cutoff makes it $50. I'm in a small with ace 10 suited. And this was one of those spots to I guess, justify my actions that the cutoff, you could consider him like a GTO wizard. He's definitely one of the best players around. He's very studied, very solid, plays way bigger than these games. In a spot with a kind of in-between hand, my thought is, what do I prefer to play? 3-bet pot out of position against a really good player, or if I call, I could get the blinds in as well that are recreationals. So do I prefer to play multi-way with recreationals and a reg, or a 3-bet pot out of position just against a good reg? Still, I think I should be just 3-betting, big call, big blind calls. Flop is nice. Ace, 8, 9. So, top pair, some backdoor straight draws, backdoor flush draws. So the cut up, it's $50. Not going anywhere. I call, big blind call. Turn is a 5. So now I got the nut flush draw to go with my top pair. So that's the cutoff, and he doesn't slow down. He bets pretty fucking big. $310. All right. Well, thankfully I got the nut flush draw. If I didn't have that, honestly, I'm probably just folding another player to talk after me for that massive size. But with the nut flush draw, I call, other player folds. Give me a diamond, please. Make it easy. It's going to be a tough spot if I break. River is a 6 of clubs. Yeah. I check, and he rips it for 1.8K, and honestly, I didn't even consider calling here. I'm blocking a backdoor flush draw, and my 10 is just blocking a bunch of the bluffs, so it just seems like one of the worst possible hands to be calling with. So yeah, I do just fold. And as you see, he was bluffing with one of those with a 10. He had Jack 10 off. He was blocking himself the front door flush that came in. So this is what happens sometimes when you play passive pre-flop. You lose a chunk of money. I just 3-bet, he folds, and instead I lost over $400. That brings me pretty much back to even after being up about $1,000. Is what it is, man. That's just poker. All we could do now is just focus and try to play our best. Let's not let this get to us because, yeah, that could be very expensive in a game like this. So now the luck distribution comes out. I'm at 82%. That honestly, I was pretty surprised. I mean, maybe if it would have hit the diamond on the river, but yep. Anyway, let's move on to the next hand. Cutoff makes it $50. I'm under the gun. Straddle with king 4 suited, so let's do it. I call flop 5-3-9. So when I check about $65, just doesn't seem like enough going on, so I fold. And he shows 7 deuce. I wasn't playing the 7 deuce game, but he was playing the nit game, so I guess that works out for him since he gets rid of his nit button. And now it's time for another bomb pawn. Let's do it. One board, Jack, King, King. Other board, 4-6, Jack. And I got Jack, 9-5, deuce. So yeah, really nothing going on. 2 pair on the King, King board with 9 kicker and top pair, bad kicker on the other board. So just check folding, but it checks around. Turn is a jack. So I got trips now. Still using against any king or jacks with better kickers. Another board is an ace. So I got a gut shot. So now it checks that button, but it's $50. Kind of calls. I mean, if I only had a jack, I'm just folding. But I got a gut shot as well on the other board. So maybe if someone had a king, they would have bet the flop. And yeah, I can hit a full house with my jack. And again, I got a gut shot. Without that, I would have just folded. But having a chance to hit a straight on the river is definitely good enough for just a $50 bet. So I called under the gun calls. River is a 9. So I do hit my boat. Let's go. No gut shot though. Other one is a 7. Checks around. I show. And we got lucky because the cutoff had a king, but we were at a full house. And we will take down half of the pot. And we are 4th in 3-bet at 9%. That, hey, not the worst. Nick game is back on. When I got ace 4 suited under the 2, make it $30. You get a low jack, high jack, and big blind to call. Flop, jack 3-6. So, yep, not much going on. So, multi-way I check, checks around. Turn is a 4. Now on to me. And with the Nick game going on, and this spot just seemed like most of the time someone would have bet a jack on the flop. And sure, you could have 6s, but not that many. So I thought most of the time I'm good here. And I don't want to check and get checked around and just overcards showing up. So I do bet. I make it $60. And I see the pretty good news when everyone does fold. So I take down the pot and I get rid of my nit button again. So hey, so far I haven't lost. That's definitely pretty good. Next hand, low jack makes it $30. I'm going to cut off with a beautiful ace king off. I make it 90. Now, folds under the gun Evan, who called 4-bets to $415. Folds to me. And I know you're not supposed to fold ace king off. You should call or just rip it here. Just in the moment I was watching him, and I play often with Evan, and he looked pretty damn serious. He's usually talking, messing around, and this time I just was getting a different feeling from it, and my mind was just saying, just call, put in the money, just the logic side, but my emotion was just not wanting to. So usually I just stick to kind of what I believe is the most profitable thing to do, but in the moment I decided, fuck it, for some reason, maybe I just got some tell or something from him, just the way he was acting, that I actually did just fold my ace king off. And would have been a flip anyway since he had pocket queens. So at least, the read or whatever I got in the moment was correct because he had a really strong hand. And he will take it down. Yep, I folded ace king pre-flop. Moving on. Nick game is back on. I'm in a low jack with ace 2 suited. I make it $30. Folds a small blind Evan, same player that I folded ace king to before. He makes it 140. Folds to me. And Nick game, I folded ace king off previously, so I guess I got to compensate. I do think Evan, he could be pretty wide pre-flop. Let's 4-bet. I make it $300. And I see the pretty amazing news. When he does let it go, we get rid of our nip button. And I don't know if I mentioned, when you're playing 7 deuce and you get rid of the button, you have to show your hand and be able to get rid of it. If you don't, you forget, you don't lose it. It's just part of the game. So I did have to show that I 4-bet him with my ace deuce suited. And now I got luck at 100%. All right. Next hand, under the 1 makes it $30. Hijack calls. I'm going to cut off with king 5 suited. Let's get in the mix. I 3-bet to $125, and to my surprise, big blind calls, other players fold, so not the way I was expecting, and the flop is not very nice. 9-8-6. Yeah, with really nothing going on. I mean, yeah, 7 gives me the bottom of the straight. It's a way better board for the caller. He checks, I check. Turn is a jack. I don't know. He checks, I check. River's a queen. Now we need 10 as a straight. He bets $35, and I'm really not sure in the moment. I just let it go. And he had ace 8 suited, so he flopped middle pair. He will take this one down. I'm surprised, honestly, that he cold called my 3-bet with that, but it worked out for him. Next hand, low jack, $30. I'm in the hijack with pocket 8s. I flick in the call, cut off calls, big blind calls, under the gun calls. Flop is 3, 7, 8. So set money not working out today. And Eric bets $130. I fold, and the big blind rips it all in for 2.6K. And yep, Eric was bluffing, and so was the big blind since he had the second nut flush draw. Very next hand, Steve raises to 10. Honestly, I think it's probably a straddle, but shows up as a raise. And I'm in the low jack, ace 10 off. I make it $30. Hijack calls, under then calls. Flop ace 8-5, pretty good. Top pair 10 kicker, out of position, I check. Hijack at $75, under then calls. I call, turn is a queen. I check, checks around. River is a jack. And maybe more on a brick river. Just that one brings in a lot of 2 pairs, a lot of straights. So I just decided now I'll just check call. But when I check, hijack bets $500. Fools to me. And these massive sizes, it's usually just always the nuts. Just, he has the straight. He's not blocking 2 pair. He's not blocking all these hands that he thinks going to call. So he just goes absolutely massive. I'm blocking king 10. But what's more likely? Sure, have blockers, but is he ever really bluffing with that size? Because I don't think he's ever value betting worse. I don't even think he's betting that size with 2 pairs. It just is a straight or nothing. And is he really doing that with nothing? I just really didn't think so. So, yep, I let it go. And indeed, yeah, king 10 for runner nuts. He will take it down. At least we didn't call the river. Next hand, under than 1, I got ace jack off. I make it $30. Under than 2, 3 bets to 75. Small blind 4 bets to $200. So, yep, I just let it go. If you want to see what happens, and then 2 makes it 450. Small blind rips it for 1.7K. Other than 2 calls. And small blind had ace king off, and then 2 had pocket kings. And they run it twice, and pocket kings will take them both. Time for another bomb pot. First board, jack 9-3. Second board, 4-6 deuce. I'm under the gun with king, queen, 10-10. So I got to open in a straight draw and the second nut flush draw on both boards. Checks around, turn is a 5 and a ace. Now the big line bets $100. And yep, with all my draws, I just flick in the call, hijack calls. There is a 5, I miss, and a 6, I miss. So, yep, a bunch of good rivers, none of them come. So when a big line bets $350, I just fold, hijack calls, and they will chop it up. And good thing I didn't hit my flush draw because the hijack had the nut flush draw. And that's kind of the shitty spot, usually, honestly, bomb pots. If I had a second nut flush draw, I just let it go because it's so often someone just has a nut flush draw. So even when you hit, you're just most likely not good. So, yep. Usually just letting it go, and that does bring me in the red. So it's definitely been a little swingy of a session. I'm 4th in tank time at 21 minutes. That's pretty crazy how high it gets, but that's 4th, so at least I'm not on one of the top people. Moving on to the next hand, under 1 makes it $40. I'm in the button with a beautiful pocket queens. Let's 3-bet. I make it 120. Folds to him. And he's going to 4-bet me again. He makes it $420. And yeah, this moment I wasn't considering folding. And he just had a completely different vibe too. He was a lot more calm and chilling. So I didn't get the same feeling as last time. And I got queens. I mean, ace, king, and queens it's pretty similar. But yep, I'm not folding ace, king, and queens the same day. I call Flop is 4 deuce 3. So interesting flop. I'm still losing his aces and queens, and if he's ever using the typical ace 5 suited as a bluff candidate, that is a straight. So when he checks, in a moment, I thought maybe he'd be just checking range, just going for a check raise. So I do decide to check back. Turn is an 8. That's pretty good. And he checks again. And this was an interesting spot. Now I definitely thought I was mostly good here. Seemed like he had a showdown value type of hand. Maybe thought ace king was showdown. Or maybe if he was bluffing with hands like ace deuce, ace 3, ace 4, that a pair plus the ace. And in the moment, because I thought, okay, most likely you should be betting small here and ripping the river. But if you had any of those hands, I was thinking, what's most likely I could get it all in here by ripping it on the turn or on the river? Because right now, if he has a hand like ace 4, ace deuce, ace 3, he has a pair plus an overcard plus a gut shot. He has so many outs that if I rip it and he thinks I could be bluffing, most likely he calls now, because if he's not right, he has a bunch of outs to call himself. Even maybe ace king, 2 overs and a gut shot. Even if I have queens and jacks, he has a good amount of outs. So that was my thought process behind here. If I rip it here, just most likely I'm going to get called now than on the river because he has outs if he's wrong. So that is the plan. I rip it all in. On the screen, it says $885. Honestly, I thought I had something closer to 1.1K that, yeah, they're still working on the stream to make it correct. At least it's close enough. Anyways, I do rip it all in for what I think was over $1,000. He goes into the tank for a good amount of time. And finally, he does flick in the call. He just wants to run it one time. So, river is a 6 of diamonds. 85 is a straight now, but I show and we are good. He mucks, and you can see he had one of those hands, ace 3 of spades. He had a pair plus gut shot plus an ace. So thankfully, he did not hit any of his outs, and now we are back up a good chunk, plus 1.5K. Let's go. Been a pretty swingy ass session, but we're back on track. Let's try to keep it going. Our luck now is at 71%. That after he missed all of his outs on that pretty massive pot, I will take it. Time for another bomb pot. Honestly, getting involved in way more than the average. First board, 9 jack jack. Second board, 6 3 deuce. And I'm under the gun with king 5 4 3. So nothing and a nut straight. So just with a nut straight, that just by the river, it could just be shit and nothing on the other one. I check and hijack bet $75, but it calls, big blind calls, and hey, getting a good price. Pretty multi-way, I call. Turn is a 7 and a queen. So now we still have the nuts, and on top of that, I got a second nut flush draw that honestly I don't want to hit. And he bet the flop a medium size, so they can still have enough flush draws in the range. Now the hijack bets $300, button rips it $385, big blind calls. Yep, calling the chop, but at least the button ripped it all in for less that the hijack only could call. So I know I'm going to get to river if I call this. And I got the nuts and a redraw to the second nuts. Said I got nothing on the board, but I still think it's good enough. So I flick in the call, hijack calls, river is a 6. And a 7 of diamonds. Yeah, I've improved to the second nut flush, but I don't have the nuts anymore. That's not great news. And it's even less when a big blind leads all in for 2.7K. I was really hoping for a brick. That honestly is not too many, but blocking the flush draw too. I went in the tank and the tank and the tank, and just what is this? What is calling twice and leading on the river? Because on the other river, it's a paired board. The 6 doesn't change anything really. It doesn't change the nuts in any way. What changes? It's my board. Now the flush came in, so now there's a new nuts. So it's always the nut flush, isn't it? And I got players to talk after me as well. So it just seemed like I'm mostly not good here, and just calling the chop just didn't seem like the good spot. So I do let it go. Hijack does call, and I was correct, thankfully, this time. Big blind had the nut flush, hijack had the nut full house, and my straight was good on the turn. So that was a little hit to our stack. Moving on, now our 3-bet is at third, 11%, pretty nice. Now the Nick game is over, so we got the 7 deuce game going on. I'm in the cutoff with ace nine off. I make it $30. Small blind Evan again, 3 bets me to 140. And with this hand, I just let it go. Another bump pot. So many of them I'm getting involved. And this is a pretty big one. So get ready. First board, 10, deuce, 7. Second board, queen, 3, 5. And cutoff makes it $100. And I look down at 7, 7, 4, deuce. I got middle set and a flush draw and an open-ended straight draw. So pretty decent. I mean, my draws aren't the strongest, but I got middle set, so not going anywhere yet. I do call. Other players fold. Turn is an ace. That doesn't change much. Other board is a 5. That's pretty bad because that pairs the board on the side that I have draws, so I may just be dead over there. Cutoff does not slow down. He bets $250. I'm really not loving it because, again, now the board pairs on the other one, so I could just be dead there. At least I have a set. But there's chances I'm just getting scooped a lot right here. But just seemed a little too weak to be folding here. Scoop here, pretty big pot. So with that in mind, I do call. River is an ace. Does pair the board. Let's go with the ace. That's the worst one, but still I'll take it. Another board is a 4. So I river, a boat, and a shitty flush. So not the strongest hands, honestly, but when the cutoff checks to me, now I thought for sure I was good on one of the boards, most likely both. I was thinking this seems most likely he had the nut flush. That is not loving it when the board pairs. So let's bet. But I was thinking maybe just trying to be a little exploitative, however you say it, not to go for a pot. That sounds scary. I went for $500. That's pretty close to pot. He does end up calling. I show, and we will scoop against the nut flush. So we hit both rivers we had to get, and we took this one down. Really nice pot at the very end of the session because that was the last hand. I'm second at 93%, and we decided just to call the end of the session by doing a $100 PLO flip. And basically the way you play it, they put out the run out except the river. So they put up flop and turn and put the river downwards. And then we all have 4 cards and we just start flipping them over one at a time until someone has the best hand. And then you put over the river anyways. It's just gambling a little bit. And I did not win it. And it was kind of a fun one because Patrick first had a straight, but Evan had a card to show, and the cards he showed, he had the nut straights. So definitely cool for old Patrick, straight over straight. And that is it. One of the best sessions, really good, up 1760. I will take that. Pretty swingy session, but thankfully towards the end we ran pretty well, winning that one with the queens and the bomb pot. And that is it. Thank you all for watching. I forgot to mention earlier, if you want to support, you want to play poker, check out Coin Poker. Links in the description of this video. You sign up using my code BABBO, BABBO, and you'll be eligible to all the month's giveaways. Last month, well, it depends when you're watching this. Let's say in May, I give away hundreds of dollars in tournament tickets. In June, I did a $50 heads up battle. And once you sign up with my code, you're eligible to every single month's giveaway. The player who won the heads up battle in June, he won the previous month a $50 main event. So you have super high chances to win months back to back to back. There's not that many sign up. And again, you support me because, yep, I'd love to be long run with Coin Poker. And to make that most likely is the more people that sign up, the more likely they will keep on giving me contracts. So, yep, once again, thank you all for watching. As usual, if you could comment, subscribe, and leave a like, I highly appreciate it. And I'll see you all next time.